Have you ever walked into a room and felt instantly that you did not belong? You look at the people around you, and they seem so confident, so competent, so sure of their place in the world. You look at yourself, and you feel small. You feel like a fraud. You are terrified that at any moment, someone is going to point a finger at you and expose you for who you really are. We call this feeling by many names. We call it imposter syndrome. We call it insecurity. But deep down, it is the fear of being weaponless in a battle we do not know how to fight. We spend so much of our lives trying to acquire new weapons. We try to learn the jargon of our industry. We try to dress like the successful people we see on screens. We try to mimic the aggression of the alpha or the charisma of the extrovert. We put on armor that does not fit us, and we swing swords that are too heavy for our hands. And usually, we lose. We lose because we are fighting on someone else's terms. There is a legend from the Edo period of Japan that suggests a different way. It is a story about a man who won a duel without knowing how to fight. It is a story about the power of staying within your own truth, even when death is staring you in the face. The man was a tea master. He was not a warrior. He had spent his entire life in the quiet, small rooms of the tea ceremony. He knew the precise temperature of the water. He knew the sound of the bamboo whisk against the clay bowl. He knew how to pour tea so that the steam rose in a perfect, calming spiral. His hands were soft, used to handling fragile porcelain, not cold steel. One day, the tea master had to travel to the capital city. As was the custom for men of his rank, he wore the two swords of a samurai at his belt, though he had never drawn them. While walking through a crowded street, he accidentally bumped into a Ronin, a masterless samurai. The Ronin was a rough, violent man. He was looking for an excuse to fight, and he found one. He blocked the tea master's path. He insulted him. He demanded satisfaction for the clumsy bump. He challenged the tea master to a duel at sunrise the next morning. The tea master was terrified. He tried to apologize. He bowed deeply. He offered gifts. But the Ronin was relentless. The duel was set. The tea master knew he was a dead man. He had no skill. He had no strength. He would be cut down before he could even lift his weapon. In his desperation, the tea master ran to the school of a famous sword master. He threw himself at the master's feet and begged for help. "Please," the tea master said, "teach me how to hold a sword. I do not expect to live. I only want to die with the dignity of a samurai. I do not want to shame my family by cowering in fear." The sword master looked at the trembling man. He saw the soft hands. He saw the fear in the eyes. But he also saw something else. He saw a deep, cultivated discipline. "I cannot teach you the way of the sword in one night," the sword master said. "It takes a lifetime to learn how to kill. But you already know how to be. You are a master of tea, are you not?" The tea master nodded. "Then tomorrow morning," the sword master continued, "do not try to be a samurai. Do not try to fight. When you face the Ronin, imagine you are about to serve tea to a guest. Prepare your mind exactly as you would for the ceremony. Hold your sword exactly as you would hold your tea whisk. Enter the state of perfect, empty stillness. And then die beautifully." The tea master went home. He did not practice fighting. Instead, he sat in his tea room. He breathed. He remembered the sound of the water. He remembered the silence of the ceremony. He anchored his mind in the one thing he knew perfectly. Sunrise came. The Ronin was waiting in the field, his hand hovering over his blade, his eyes full of violence. He expected a terrified amateur. He expected a man who would run or beg. The tea master arrived. But he did not look like a victim. He walked slowly. His face was calm. He did not look at the Ronin with fear. He looked at him with the same serene focus he gave to his guests. The tea master took off his outer coat and folded it neatly. He placed it on the grass. He tied back his sleeves with slow, deliberate movements. He reached for his sword. He did not grab it clumsily. He held it with the same reverence, the same lightness, the same absolute control with which he held his bamboo whisk. He drew the blade. He raised it above his head. And then he closed his eyes and waited. He stood there, perfectly still. There was no shaking. There was no hesitation. There was only the silence of the tea room. He was ready to die, and because he was ready to die, he was completely present. The Ronin watched this transformation. He saw the stillness. He saw a man who had no openings. In the world of the sword, an opening comes from fear or anger or desire. But the tea master had none of these. He was just there. The Ronin began to sweat. He thought to himself, "This man is not an amateur. He is a master of a style I have never seen. He is in perfect harmony. If I attack him now, his spirit will strike me down before my blade touches his skin." The silence stretched on. The wind blew through the grass, but the tea master did not move. Finally, the Ronin lowered his sword. He bowed low to the tea master. "Sir," the Ronin said, "I have been defeated. I do not know your school, but your mastery is greater than mine." And the Ronin turned and walked away. The tea master sheathed his sword, picked up his coat, and walked back to the city to make his morning tea. We listen to this story and we think it is a miracle. But it is not a miracle. It is a psychological truth. The Ronin was not fighting the tea master's skill. He was fighting the tea master's state of mind. Most of us go through life trying to be the Ronin. We try to be tough. We try to be loud. We try to fake skills we do not have because we think that is what the world demands. When we enter a high-stakes negotiation, we try to act aggressive. When we are in a conflict with a partner, we try to act cold. We play roles. And because we are playing roles, we are terrified of being caught. We tremble. We overcompensate. We leave openings everywhere because our minds are split between who we are and who we are pretending to be. The tea master teaches us a different kind of courage. He teaches us that you do not need to learn a new weapon to survive. You need to translate your existing mastery into the new context. Think about the times you feel like an imposter. Maybe it is at work. You are in a meeting with senior executives. They are aggressive, fast-talking, using words you don't fully understand. Your instinct is to try to be like them. You try to talk fast. You try to interrupt. But you fail, because that is not your nature. You are faking it, and they can smell the fear. Now, imagine if you did what the tea master did. Imagine if you anchored yourself in what you actually are. Perhaps you are a listener. Perhaps you are a person of deep empathy. Perhaps you are a person of detailed organization. If you are a listener, do not try to outshout the room. Bring the tea of listening to the battle. Sit in that meeting with absolute, grounded silence. Listen so deeply that your presence changes the energy of the room. Ask the one question that cuts through the noise, because you were the only one paying attention. That is your sword. If you are a gentle person, do not try to be a hard-nosed negotiator. Be a gentle negotiator with lethal focus. Speak softly, move slowly. Let your calmness be so heavy, so undeniable, that the aggressive people around you are forced to slow down to your pace. The Ronin ran away because he encountered something he could not break. He encountered authenticity. You cannot break a man who is not pretending. This practice requires a shift in how we view confidence. We often think confidence means knowing everything. We think it means having all the answers. But true confidence, the kind that saved the tea master, is simply the absence of internal conflict. It is the ability to stand in a chaotic field and say, I am here. This is what I am. I am not trying to be anything else. When you stop trying to defend an image of yourself, you become very dangerous in the best possible way. You become unpredictable. The world knows how to deal with greed. The world knows how to deal with anger. The world does not know what to do with someone who is completely content in their own skin. So, the next time you face a duel, whether it is a difficult conversation, a creative deadline, or a moment of crisis, do not reach for a weapon you do not know how to use. Do not put on a mask that blocks your vision. Go inward. Find your tea ceremony. Find the thing you know how to do with your eyes closed. It might be kindness. It might be logic. It might be patience. Take that feeling, that sensation of competence and peace, and project it onto the terrifying situation in front of you. Hold your ground with the reverence of a master. Breathe the air of your own truth. You might find that the battle ends before it even begins. You might find that the scary monsters in the room bow down and walk away. Not because you fought them, but because you were real enough to make them vanish.